Welcome to the Spirit and Muscle broadcast. This episode is about finding time to work out. I'm going to be sharing 10 tips on how to make the most of your time and how to work out on a time budget. Best of all, results are guaranteed. So stay tuned. Hi, welcome again to the Spirit and Muscle broadcast. I'm your host, Jerry Parker, aka Young Gerald, certified personal trainer. And this episode is about finding time to work out, or more accurately, making time to work out. I'm going to be sharing 10 tips on how to make the most of your time, show you how to work out and eat healthier on a time budget. Now here's the thing. I guarantee that if you put these tips into practice, you will be more productive with your time and easily carve out time to start exercising on a regular basis. Most experts recommend about an hour a day of physical activity. Now that might sound like a lot, but to put it in perspective, that's about 4% of your time. Now for some of you, 1 hour might seem just completely out of reach right now, and that's okay, I understand. So why don't we start with 1 hour 3 times a week, or maybe a half an hour a day. So now we're down to 2% of your time. Now let me ask you a question. Is your health worth investing 2% of your time? If your answer is no, then keep on scrolling. But I know that you know it is worth it, or you wouldn't be listening to me right now. So let's dive right in with tip number 1. Split your workout. If you don't have a 1 hour block of time or even a half hour block of time, split it up. Do you think you could find 15 minutes twice a day to exercise? Or maybe 10 minutes 3 times a day? So if an hour seems just completely out of reach, I know you can find 10 or 15 minutes. So tip number 1, split your workout. Tip number 2, wake up earlier. If you wake up earlier, you're going to beat the morning rush hour. Everything's quieter, you'll encounter fewer interruptions, and get more accomplished in less time. Now, some of you can gain an hour each day just by doing this. So, to repeat, tip number 2, wake up earlier. Tip number 3, work less overtime. I understand overtime may be a fact of life, but if you find yourself saying yes to overtime every day, and it's taking its toll on you physically and emotionally, you may need to put up some healthier boundaries and learn to say no more often. So tip number 3, work less overtime. Tip number 4, now we're getting into some meat here. Tip number 4, use an agenda to plan your day. What's an agenda, you ask? A prioritized list of things to do. Now don't confuse this with a task list or a to-do list. It's different. Here's how it works. First thing in the morning, before you start your day, write down everything you need to do. Now don't worry about prioritizing anything yet, just write things down as they come to mind. Okay? And then once you're done with that, then you're going to go back and you're going to prioritize each task in terms of importance. Put a number 1 next to the most important task, number 2 to the next important, and so on. After you do this, now you have your agenda for the day. This is a great tool to help you take control of your day and be more intentional about how you spend your time. Of course, things may come up that aren't on your agenda, and you may have to be flexible, but you have a name, you have a direction, and having an agenda is going to help you stay on track and get more done in less time. So tip number 4, use an agenda. Tip number 5, batch your tasks or combine similar tasks. For example, if you have an errand to run, wait till you have 2 or 3 errands and do them all at the same time instead of running back and forth needlessly. Now this tip is one of my favorites when it comes to eating healthy. We all know it's healthier to cook our own meals at home, but that takes time. So let's say you're going to make a tuna sandwich for lunch, and let's say it takes 10 minutes. So if you're going to take the time to do that, why not take a few more minutes and make a whole week's worth of tuna sandwiches? It might take you 15 or even 20 minutes, but it's going to save you an hour or more throughout the week. I know guys who do all their meal prep for an entire week, breakfast, lunch, and dinner every Sunday afternoon. That's their tradition. Every Sunday afternoon, they'll spend 2 or 3 hours, and then bam, they have all their meals prepped for the entire week. So, tip number 5, batch your tasks or combine similar tasks. Tip number 6, this is super important. Allow yourself to focus. Okay, when you're actively engaged in a task, focus. That means preventing external factors from affecting your ability to concentrate. That means you're taking more control of your environment. It may mean turning off your phone and letting coworkers or family know not to disturb you for a while. So tip number 6, allow yourself to focus. And related to that, tip number 7, identify time wasters. Okay, I have 2 words for you. Social media. Well, maybe not all social media is time wasting, but a lot of it probably is. So we just need to break the habit of constantly texting or checking our email or looking at our Facebook or Instagram feed. Okay, turn off the TV at night unless there's something specific you want to watch and it's a conscious choice. There may be other things in your life that you can identify as time wasters that you can limit or cut out completely. So identify time wasters and get rid of them. That's tip number 7. Tip number 8, multitasking. Now, some of us are better at this naturally than others. What I'm talking about is combining 2 tasks into one time slot. For example, listening to an audiobook while you're doing the dishes, or taking an online course while you're doing cardio. You can see that's one of my favorites. Use your imagination and you'll find creative ways to multitask. So tip number 8, multitasking. Tip number 9, take a break. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but one way to get more done in less time is to stop for a few minutes. When you're overworked and stressed out, you don't get nearly as much done, and you're more prone to making mistakes, which, guess what, end up costing you even more time. So it's wise to plan a few breaks in your day. You come back refreshed, and you're actually more productive. So tip number 9, take a break. Tip number 10, get help. There's only so much you can do alone, so at times it may be a good idea to ask for help from a coworker or a family member. Many hands make light work, as the saying goes. So share your household chores. You know, there's no law that says you have to do everything. So you may be able to delegate some tasks completely. That's good. So tip number 10, get help. So there you have it. 10 practical tips to make the most of your time. Now, I understand that maybe not all of them apply to you, but I guarantee that if you put into practice the ones that do, you will easily carve out enough time to start exercising and eating healthier. Of course, the key to making all this work is you, your determination and your motivation that you bring to the table. Now, if you're like most of us, you may find it tough to get going sometimes. Now, if you fall into that category, check out last week's video called Increase Your Motivation in 8 Minutes. The link's in the description. And also, in case you haven't heard, I've created a free resource on motivation called Do What You Want. Actually, it's Do What You Really Want. It's a 3-step motivation hack, I call it. It's free. It's my gift to you. It's a PDF guide that breaks down this whole motivation thing into 3 simple steps that will help you get started or keep going on your fitness journey. So if you'd like that, go to spiritandmuscle.com/motivation. That's spiritandmuscle.com/motivation. Of course, the link is in the description as well. Okay, that's it for this week's Spirit and Muscle broadcast. Thanks for joining me. Next week, I'll be addressing the number 3 challenge to getting fit and healthy, and that is food issues. Not having enough self-control to say no to certain foods, like chocolate or Cheetos. Come on, I know your mouth's watering right now. Okay, so I'll be sharing tips to cut calories without feeling deprived And guess what? You still get to eat some of your favorite treats. So join me next week for the Spirit and Muscle broadcast right here on YouTube and on Facebook Live, Thursdays, 4 p.m. Make sure to get your copy of this 3-step motivation hack if you haven't already. Like and share this video if you got some value. Subscribe for more useful content like this. Follow us on Instagram, like our Facebook page. All the links are in the description. That's all for now. God bless you, and I am out.